All right, well, next, in other world news, the U.S. president is in London today. Now, Barack Obama said the visit was timed so that he could personally wish Queen Elizabeth a happy 90th birthday. But he wasted no time in plunging into Britain's Brexit debate, stating clearly that the UK should stay in the European Union. Now, it's a rare instance of an American president getting involved in domestic politics of another country. This as Obama said that the issue is of, quote, deep interest to the United States. For more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by Douglas Weber, a political science professor at INSEAD, that's International Business School here just outside of the capital. Douglas, I'd like to ask you first, were you surprised that the president chimed in, that he gave his opinion on the Brexit?
No, not really, not at all. That's just to be expected. And indeed, already in the last couple of years, the administration in Washington had made it very clear they would prefer Britain to stay in the EU. Of course, they should make such a statement now. It has to do with the fact that the referendum is in 2 months' time. Mr. Cameron, of course, like the rest of us, sees that the outcome is quite open. It's going to be a very close race. He would like all the help that he would get. And I think the foreign policy implications of Brexit are actually one of the weak links in the Brexit argument. That's to say, they make the argument, of course, that Britain can leave the EU, its role in the world, its influence in the world will remain unaffected, may even actually increase. If the American president comes to London and says, it's better if you stay in. This, of course, is a very powerful reinforcement of the case to remain in the European Union.
So do you think it'll have much of an impact, his friendly message, as he put it, as the title?
Well, I'm sure Barack Obama enjoys quite a lot of prestige in the United Kingdom. He's quite highly regarded. I don't think it will make have very much impact on the outcome of the referendum. In case of doubt, it may be slightly helpful. But I would expect in the next 2 months, other leaders as well in Europe and elsewhere will make it clear they would prefer Britain to stay in the EU. And collectively, their views and their opinions and their pleas could actually, of course, help to bring about a vote in favour of staying in.
Well, if indeed the vote comes and the vote is to leave, what impact would that have on relations between Washington and London?
Well, that would be bound to be negative. The most important thing is that for the United States, Britain is a kind of bridgehead into Europe. It's the member state in the EU which is closer to the US in terms of language, in terms of history, in terms of interests, and so on. And if Britain is no longer a member, of course, it's not going to be very useful for the United States to come to London to try to influence what's going on in the European Union. So you would then see, I think, fewer American presidents, government officials, politicians sort of beating the path to Downing Street to try and actually have some kind of impact on what's going on and being decided in Brussels. Instead, they'll go more often to Brussels directly, or perhaps to Paris or to Berlin, but not to the same extent to London.
Well, we've got just about 8 weeks now then until the June 23rd referendum. What do you think could be said or done or could happen that could perhaps dramatically sway voters? Is that a possibility?
I think the positions are sort of fairly well staked out, and we're not going to be surprised by what is said by this or that or the other political leader or business leader or foreign politician. I think probably the most important thing is what kinds of things will happen in the European Union? What's going to happen with the Eurozone crisis? Will Brexit become an issue again? Will the refugee crisis resurface and become more important? Could other, at the moment, unforeseen crises suddenly break out in the next 2 months? These are, I think, the things that could shift British opinion one way or the other. Probably the most things one could contemplate happening between now and the end of June will be negative in terms of their impact on the outcome of the referendum. Will favour that is to say, a Brexit vote.
So do you think then that the UK is indeed headed for Brexit?
If you were to ask me how Britain would vote, let's say tomorrow, I would say there will be a small majority in favour of staying in. And nonetheless, as I said, if anything comes up, any crises resurface, are intensified over the course of the next 8 months, a Brexit vote becomes increasingly likely. And one should bear in mind that somewhere between 1/4 and perhaps even more than 1/3 of British voters have still not made up their minds how they're going to vote. So the outcome is open, everything is to play for.
All right, excellent. Well, Douglas Weber, thank you for joining me here in this studio and sharing with us your perspective. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.